town full of sin. Who makes a better guide than a sinner?
You see?
Come along, Thaddeus. We have more important things to do.
Taylor, sit down and have a drink. Mr. Taylor, I may be interested in that proposition of yours after all. We are agreed on the original price you mentioned.
Oh, sure. I meant what I said. See, we was talking about that back section of pasture land. I thought as long as we weren't using it...
You thought you'd let somebody steal it. What's the offering?
Well, I guess the land's worth about $2,500.
As a first payment, of course. The other $2,500 to be paid after the title is transferred.
$2,500 plus? You mean $5,000 for...
The trouble is that I will have to see the land immediately. Now, if you're in town on some important business...
Well, it just so happens that Lydia and me was...
No. Nothing important at all. Fact is, we were just talking about heading back home.
Yeah, that's right. See, the stage we come in on goes right back in half an hour.
Oh, well, that'll give me just time to pack. Mr. Taylor, I'll meet you and your housekeeper in the hotel entry in just half an hour. Farewell.
Oh, this here's Lydia's brother, Clyde, Mr. Paladin. He minds my livestock for me.
My gear's in the back seat. Get it out when you have a moment.
Just a minute. Where's your ring, sister?
Just you keep quiet about that. I'll explain it later.
Yeah, besides which, it ain't none of your doggone business in the first place.
Thaddeus! Were you born in a barn? Look at your boots.
Sorry, Lydia.
Sister don't allow no smoking in there.
Clyde, I'm telling you for the last time, you're hired to mind my cattle, and that's all.
Clyde, you get on about your business.
Madam, it's been a long, dusty, hot journey. I wonder if you'd mind bringing me a glass of cool water.
Ain't no man so big that a length of kindling won't cut him down to size. Did it ever occur to you that a length of kindling might work just as well on her as it does on her brother? Well, a man just can't do that with a woman.
A theory that will probably result in their being the last thing civilized by man. When Milton declared that heaven's best gift is a woman perfected, he forgot to mention what a hellish job it is perfecting one of them. I think perhaps Homer described her better. A creature with the form of a goddess, the walk of a queen, and the heart of a tyrant.
If you rode out to the acreage now, Thaddeus, perhaps Mr. Paladin could make up his mind by the 6 o'clock stage out.
I will let your employer know, Miss Moss, when I am ready to leave. As a matter of fact, it's so cool in here, I don't want this glass of water. Will you bring me a cup of coffee instead?
You might at least wait till I got it set down.
Well, now, Miss Moss, I distinctly heard you tell me to wait.
Maybe you prefer to go out and eat with the hogs.
Miss Moss, don't apologize to me for your cooking. I'm sure the over-seasoning was just a mistake.
Over what? Well, we've had your cowboy friends ride 3 days to eat at this table.
It is amazing how cowboys and ranch hands develop a fondness for that peculiar flavor of chuck wagon cooking. Very few kitchens can reproduce it.
I notice you ain't stood short at the biscuits.
Madam, the fact that a chicken can lay a perfect egg does not entitle her to crow like a rooster.
Well, now that finally does it. You tell him to leave, Thaddeus. We are not interested in doing business with him.
Miss Moss, you seem to have some very peculiar idea that you have a part in this transaction.
Thaddeus, tell him. Well, go on. Tell him he knew about us. All right. You can just bet that I've got an interest in all this. Thaddeus and me was just setting to get married when you came along.
Taylor, it's no wonder your friends come around here. I'm sure they enjoy Miss Moss's sense of humor. It's authentically Western, you know, the impossibly tall story.
Look, Paladin, maybe if we just,
And what's so tall about it, Mr. Paladin?
Well, Miss Moss, I mean, really, you and Mr. Taylor, he's reasonably young and attractive, and he's a very wealthy rancher.
Thaddeus, are you just going to sit there while he insults me? I'm warning you. You run him off right now, or else. It's either him or me. I'll leave you, so help me!
Well, sir, you have been asked for a decision.
well, see, you're not exactly playing it fair.
Taylor, it is her ultimatum. If she leaves now, she has her pride. She hasn't been run off or jilted.
Just what does that mean?
Look, Lydia, you finish straightening up in here, Lydia. I have to have a talk with Mr. Paladin. We had an agreement.
Well, I am living up to my part of it.
You've done nothing but throw the whole darn thing right back in my lap.
A man can be hired to do anything in this world for another man but make a decision for him.
Listen, Paladin, if you want your $1,000, you get in there and make it so clear to her that she'll never come back. Tell her that I don't want her around. I don't want to marry her. I don't want to see her ugly face or hear her screeching or her
That
name.
won't be necessary, Mr. Taylor. I'll leave as quick as Clyde can arrange me a place to go. Till then, I'll be happy to keep my nagging, ugly face out of your sight. You up. I thought you might like some coffee.
Very kind of you. Miss Moss, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you.
As a matter of fact, I'm thanking you for doing me a favor. No woman would ever be happy with a weakling.
Well, I'm sure that's very wise of you. Good night, Miss Moss.
Try to be kind to a man. Run to the kitchen and make him coffee and a lot he cares. Well, I'll tell you something that'll surprise you. I saw you when we first walked into that hotel. Sitting there with that simpering, soft woman. Her lighting your cigar and pouring your drink. And just begging for you to notice her. That's what men like, isn't it? Playing the great Raja and women having to crawl to them. Well, I've got too much pride for that. I don't have to beg. I've saved my money. Over $300. Is it enough? Do I have to say it?
Well, I will take a guess on almost anything, but not right at this moment.
If you saw your own father beat your own mother into a grave, and you had 5 brothers just shiftless and weak as him, and you grew up the only girl, the only one with any stomach for work, the only one to stand on her hind legs with any pride and decency, well, then you might get a backwards idea of the place of women and men and things. I want to be a proper female kind of woman. I want that dealer to love me. Oh, he's not like most other men, Mr. Paladin. He's decent and kind. And I love him so much it hurts. I'd rather die than leave this house.
Put your money away.
Oh, please.
Lesson number 1. Never touch a man in desperation, in anger, or in fear. For a real woman, a proper female kind of woman, tries to perpetuate the legend that her touch is as rare as a fine jewel, that it's given only to a very special person at a very special moment.
That doesn't make sense. It's not even practical.
Lesson number 2, forget all about logic. Now, how in the world does a woman get her hair into this condition? What do? Starch and iron it?
Oh, Mr. Bell.
Don't argue with me now. Come on, get up. Up. Turn around. Come on down.
It smells like burning hair. Somebody branding calves in here or something?
I told you I don't know how to fix hair. Look at me. And it's all your fault.
You are beginning to talk like a woman now. Blame it all on the man. I grade you 100% on that.
I hate you.
That is also the correct answer, and your brows are still a mess.
It hurts to pluck 'em.
Then don't.
Oh, you think you're so all-fired You are quite right about my brows. I should have seen it.
No, more conviction.
How wonderful of you to drop in.
No, it's too bold.
How quickly you seem to
No
understand.
mystery.
Isn't it strange how you seem to understand my little problems? I wonder what that means.
That's a little better.
It was a lot better.
Was it?
Not if you don't think so, Mr. Paladin.
Lydia, it seems to me if you pile it higher, It'll make your face seem more slender.
I don't have a slender face. Do I have to be a liar to be a woman?
You'll know when the moment for honesty comes, and it'll make truth out of every illusion you've created.
Dad rat you, Paladin. Told you they'd laugh at me buying all this frilly stuff. Had to knock half of Ed Bigley's teeth down his throat. Now I want to know what's going on here.
Lydia.
Isn't it wonderful how good Clyde is about helping me? He was always the sweetest of all my brothers.
Well, I don't mind helping a person a little. When are we going to leave?
Whenever you think we're ready, of course.
Well, no, it's whenever you're ready. You just let me know.
It works. Even with him. You're all like children, aren't you? It's not only bad, it's foolish to use a whip on a child.
Miss Moss, here are your robes. I believe you're about ready to graduate.
We'll see that somebody drives your Surrey back from the stage depot.
Are you ready, Mr. Paladin? I forgot to thank Mr. Taylor. I was thinking only last night of how kind you were to me. Goodbye.
Don't mention it. Fact is, you went out of your way a lot of times for me, too.
Well, come along, Lydia. We'll be late.
Lydia, I guess I should ought to say I'm sorry if I said anything.
You simply don't want to be tied down. A lot of bachelors feel that way. I've learned to understand things like that.
Lydia, you sure you got a proper place to go? I mean, if I'm hurting you too much...
No. I'm leaving for San Francisco with Mr. Paladin.
Now, I don't like the sound of that at all.
Well, I think what Miss Moss meant was that she's going as far as the San Francisco stage with me.
No. No. I didn't mean that at all.
Well, now, if this is somebody's idea of a joke...
Oh, I assure you I'm not joking.
Now, looky here, Lydia. I happen to know some things about this Paladin. She's changed, Clyde. He's done more than just put her in a new dress.
I might have guessed what was going on in there.
like you's gotta marry a man to love him, don't you see? You've got to have a house and a kitchen and maybe children and...
Now you've done it, and you'd be a fool to charge me again.
Paladin! You just take this money and get, Mr. Paladin, unless you want what I got in this hand instead.
You can take my things off the carriage. Mr. Paladin will be leaving alone.
I think I'm being pretty decent, considering as how I work things out for myself.
Well, I think your fiancé might agree that this money was fairly earned.
Maybe you just should have stayed in San Francisco and not butted in at all.
Now, that kind of a remark calls for a very special kind of an answer, and I wish I could think of it.
Thaddeus. If you're going to track mud in, you're going to sweep it out, too, dear.
Now I feel better. Whom God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. Thaddeus.
I've gun will travel, reach the card of a man. A knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heats the calling wind. Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam?